truth, and the life. I am Jesus. I'm not here to condemn you. I came to bring you back to life. Rely on me. I will forgive you and give you eternal life. I love you. And I did all of this to have a relationship with you. Will you follow me?
The Americans have certainly are long overdue in trying to catch up and maintain some sort of a credible delivery system. Now, of course, the players that would be requiring some sort of a psychological demonstration would mostly be junior players like North Korea, perhaps, aside from other than Russia. Russia certainly does not need to be have a show put on as far as what the United States is capable of. The reality, from a strategic standpoint, is that intercontinental ballistic missile delivery systems for nuclear bombs are actually obsolete, and that there are much more sophisticated weapon systems that have a much more destructive capability that remain secret within the arsenals of the United States and the country of Russia.
From the northern French port of Calais, the English coast is just 33 kilometers away. For migrants desperate to reach the United Kingdom, it's their best chance of making the crossing. While they wait, most camp out in the jungle, a former rubbish tip where thousands of people are living in squalid conditions despite continued government attempts to evacuate the camp. Nearby is the Jules Ferry Centre, where migrants can go for a shower and a meal. In January 2016, French authorities opened a new camp for migrants next door to the jungle, designed to accommodate up to 1,500 people in heated, refitted shipping containers. Migrants have to have their palm prints taken to come in and out of the enclosure. In a bid to reach England, many migrants attempt to climb on board heavy goods vehicles as they enter the port. In July 2015, a secure corridor with a several-metre-high barbed wire fence was created to try to tackle the problem. Undeterred, migrants have focused their efforts on the Eurotunnel site, 650 hectares, surrounded by 28 kilometres of fencing, which is proving a challenge to secure. The A16 motorway runs along the west of the site. Migrants risk their lives running across it to reach the lorry.
By the Syrian government in Russia has been delivered to another besieged village in Latakia.
Preparation will cost $18 million and comes in response to terrorist attacks on a concert hall and several restaurants in Paris that left 130 people dead. Officials say if police forces who were the first ones on the scenes of the attack had been better equipped, they could have confronted the terrorists much more effectively.
Also notes that 45 other imprisoned Palestinians had their administrative detention extended. The administrative detention allows for Israelis to hold suspects without trial for renewable 6-month periods. The advocacy group revealed the number of Palestinians held under administrative detention has reached a 7-year high of over 700. According to the Palestinian prisoners group, some 7,000 Palestinians
says the company cannot be forced to help the FBI unlock the iPhone in a narcotics case. That ruling will be used by Apple in the much larger case they're fighting involving the iPhone of one of the terrorists in the San Bernardino shooting. The FBI says the data on that iPhone might help them find other terrorists here in the U.S., but Apple maintains that writing a code to unlock that one iPhone would compromise the security of millions.
We know would be to write a piece of software that we view as sort of the software equivalent of cancer.
Today, Apple's lawyers are on Capitol Hill being questioned by the House Judiciary Committee.
The United Nations Security Council is to vote on a resolution that will expand sanctions against North Korea over its nuclear program. The vote is scheduled later on Tuesday. The resolution has been drafted by the United States and China. It calls for new sanctions against North Korea for its recent nuclear tests and rocket launch. North Korea has pushed ahead with its nuclear program despite international pressure over the past decade. Pyongyang says it needs its nuclear deterrent force for self-defense against threats. But the U.S. and its regional allies accuse the North of trying to advance its nukes. On Tuesday, South Korean President Park Geun-hye accused Pyongyang of, quote,
The uniforms were hidden in shipping containers that were declared as carrying second-hand clothes.
Claimed the responsibility of the attack, the first of its kind in Yemen. On Monday, a suicide car bombing hit a gathering of the loyalist forces, killing 4 people and wounding 5 others.
In a clear signal to China and the region, United States urgently dispatched a carrier strike group to the South China Sea. The Washington Post reported that the Nimitz-class nuclear-powered supercarrier USS John C. Stennis, CVN-74, and its air wing accompanied by 2 Arleigh-Burke-class guided missile destroyers USS Stockdale, DDG-106, and USS Junghoon, DDG-93, flanked by 2 Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruisers USS Antietam, CG-54, and USS Mobile Bay, CG-53, and the command ship USS Blue Ridge. The floating headquarters of the Japan-based 7th Fleet flagship have sailed into the disputed waters in recent days. Many experts see this move as a full commitment of the U.S. Navy and Defense Department to safeguard the freedom of navigation in the region. It also shows the U.S. interests and its ability to...
One of our correspondents was on the Turkey-Syria border, just meters away from what looked like Nusra front positions, identified by black flags. TV crews seldom managed to get so close to militant forces in the area. RT's Lizzie Phelan travelled with the Syrian Kurdish forces, the YPG. They're the main anti-ISIL fighters on the ground and have recently been shelled by Turkey from across the border.
We're right next to the Turkish border. Beyond, you can see the Turkish city of Kilis.
The YPG say that al-Nusra have taken down most of their flags because they fear airstrikes since they're excluded from the ceasefire agreement. But we can see 3 flying here. We're extremely...
By the US have just launched a new campaign against ISIS. Al-Shaddadi was liberated from ISIS last week after a 3-day battle that left parts of the town flattened. The buildings still standing are daubed with ISIS slogans, but al-Shaddadi is now under the control of the Syrian Democratic Forces, an Arab-Kurdish alliance that's backed by the US.
This was the ISIS police station, the Islamic
Commander Media.
Houses and facilities. The demolitions have displaced thousands of Palestinians in recent years. Acknowledged Tel Aviv's failure to stop the ongoing Palestinian popular uprising, also known as the Intifada. Chairman of the Knesset Foreign Affairs Committee, Zachi Hanegbi, says security force services are unable to curb what he calls the latest wave of terror which began last year. Palestinian territories, mainly the West Bank, has been the scene of heightened tensions between the 2 sides over the past few months. 192 Palestinians and 33 Israelis cities to cross the border. Under the new restrictions, refugees from the Syrian city of Aleppo, for example, can
turning Greece into a massive refugee camp. Ahmed and his family have been waiting for around 2 weeks, but they might never make it. His wife does not have her Syrian ID. When the strikes hit, we just ran away, he says. I happened to have my ID in my pocket. Hers was in the house. They never had a chance to go back, and stricter regulations make identification many fled without mandatory. Ahmed says they had no idea. His relatives made it to Germany in just 6 days a few months ago. The line for food, a sandwich, is a 2-hour wait.
These women, these young mothers from Aleppo, were just telling us that the hardest thing about all of this, and they can put up with just about everything, is the uncertainty of it all, not knowing how long they will have to continue living like this. They are, like the others here, aware that there are high levels.
And the reality that in the last 8 months, since the refugee crisis first made major headlines, instead of viable solutions, there have simply been barricades and blame games.